Mm. Okay, so we are recording and we are live on Facebook right now. So let me 1 second be happy and announce that the volume number 2 in Italian has been published, but there is a little problem. We had to wait that Facebook publish it in Italy also. So it may take 1 day or 2, but the book is published. This book has been the book who took more in my life. It's 2 years. Well, of course, I've been changing residence and so many things happen. So it's not that I worked 2 years, but it took time. And so the Spanish is not far. May take about 1 week or more, a little more, couple of weeks, let's say, and then then it will be. And the next book I'm going when the two Mahabharatas will be published, Italian and Spanish, then I will complete my book on Nandagram. So I go from warrior fighting. Well, of course, the Mahabharata is just not just that. A lot of philosophy. But then I will cool down and go into Krishna's pastimes during his period in Nandagram. So you are going to enjoy this book. And about having it in English, that depends on you. It's up to you. Surely I'm going to write it in Italian and translate it in Spanish by nice devotees who are doing this. One very nice devotee from Mexico, and then Parvati, Rantideva. These 3 devotees are helping me or us in correcting it, edit it in Spanish. So they are doing a good job. So you should send them your best blessings and thanks to all of them. So let's start. What are we going to talk about today?
Guru Maharaj, you had mentioned that you had a list of questions. I know Bhakta Fabian has not arrived yet, but he usually comes a little late, and you might want to begin with that since we did not send new questions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can do that. Okay, let's start with a practical question. And I wanted to talk about marriage because 2 devotees lately asked me about, and so I want to take some time in discussing what is marriage in Krishna consciousness. And yeah, so I want to see if Pata Fabien connects, and then I'm going to talk about this. The meantime, so let's talk about Jiva, the spiritual world. This is a nice question. In the spiritual world, the Jiva with a human form, they feel more happiness than does the Jiva with other bodies, like animals or trees or whatever. That from the material point of view are less advanced. Yeah. Well, we are to answer this question, we have to understand how the spiritual world is. Otherwise, we don't understand. If we try to understand the spiritual world with our material, how you say, with our material perspective, then we don't actually understand what is the spiritual world. In the material world, there are some limitations or differences, like um, that in the spiritual world there is not. First of all, it actually not a fact that the human form of life in the material world is better than the animal world from the point of view of pleasure. If you see the life of animal, you see that it's much simpler. There are no taxes, there is no problem, there is no moral values, you can do whatever you want. There is no the police for the dogs, The dogs do not have cops and all these things. And actually the human form of life is not meant for pleasure. It's just the way it is. Everything is so complicated in the human form of life, while in the animal world everything is simpler. You can do whatever you want, and you know, and so the human form of life is not meant for enjoyment. Human form of life is meant for spiritual realization, or at least for philosophical understanding, establishing what is right and what is wrong. So, so maybe in this moment you want to do something, but you don't do it because it's not right. The animals do not have this problem. They want to do something, they just do it because they do not have the intelligence or develop to establish what is right and what is wrong. The animal, they survive and they try to have pleasure. They eat, sleep, defend themselves, while the human form of life, we build up societies which are, most of them, they are horrible, so complicated. You need money, you have a job, you need to do this, you need money, and so many problems. The humans are very stupid, in one sense, that they organize themselves in such a way to disturb each other. So it's just very, very difficult in a human form of life. In the spiritual world, everything is absolute. It's not that if someone is a dog or a cow, then doesn't have a relationship with Krishna, or he experiences a lesser. Absolutely, there is no difference, because there is no how you say that, there is not something that is better than the other one from the point of view absolute. From the absolute point of view, everyone enjoying a spiritual form. And how to explain this? Men think that an animal is lower because they think that in the spiritual world there is no such a thing. A human form of life, animal, and even the trees, that form is absolute. They enjoy the eternal relationship with Krishna. Okay, so I think if there is no question on this, then we go on to some other question. Yamuna?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Well, related to this topic, my question is, would that put like animals in a way, like in the mode of ignorance, because they don't know any better, so they're just happy with what they have? And how would that compare to a human being in the mode of ignorance? Would a human being in the mode of ignorance be happy because they don't know anything better.
Knowing or having a developed advanced intelligence not always results into happiness. Okay? You know something, but not necessarily you are happy knowing that. No? Like, for instance, one time there was a discussion, and one devotee saying, look, since I became a devotee, I enjoy less my life because I'm thinking I should not do this while I want to do it. So intelligence and happiness it's not the same thing. It's not that you need the knowledge to be happy. If you can just be happy in eating and sleeping and all these kind of things without understanding how to do it, if knowing philosophy and history, all these complications in human life, you just enjoy your life. And so, from the point of view of pleasure, then you don't need to have knowledge. If you want to have a higher plan of happiness, then you need knowledge. But as far as the simple pleasures like eating or sleeping, you don't need knowledge. You just eat, sleep, and whatever, and you try to be happy with those. This kind of person, as you say, that they are in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, but they will tell you, okay, I am in the mode of ignorance. Who cares? I'm happy. Because I eat well, I mate, I have my wife or my husband in the case of a woman, and yeah, so who cares? I'm happier. And look at you, the philosophy. You have to cannot do this, you shouldn't do that. It's so complicated. And so it's um, uh, so knowledge is required if you want to get free from the material world. Okay, then you need that because you cannot advance in spiritual life unless you have knowledge. That's why Srila Prabhupada wrote books. That's why we talk a lot in our movement, and other Vaishnavas, they preach. Preach means I inform you, I tell you what is. This is knowledge. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if my answer the
Yes, that's very good, Guru Maharaj. I was just trying to compare it a little bit with the animals, being in some kind of state of ignorance as well, because it also brings up the question: do the animals in the spiritual world are they advanced souls, or are they also at an elementary stage in their development?
in the spiritual world, what matters. Well, it depends very much what we mean by knowledge. If by knowledge means knowing the Vedas, knowing everything Krishna does, etc., there are certain forms in the spiritual world who know more. Like the gopis know more about Madhurya Lila than the cows or other things. But we should not misunderstand the fact that knowing something gives you more happiness. You know, just let's make one example. We know that Madhurya is the best loving relationship within the gopis and Krishna. It is the best. But try to go to Mother Yashoda and tell her, look, being the mother of Krishna is inferior of being a gopi friend of Krishna. And hear what she says. She will tell you, who cares? I mean, a small glass full of water is not less full of water than a bigger glass is full of water because it's full of water, both of them. Okay. So the when when you have a relationship in the spiritual world, and you um, are perfectly happy in serving Krishna and loving Krishna, you don't care about if there is somebody who has more happiness, because that's the happiness you want. That's your natural happiness. You don't want more. Okay, that's um, yeah. I think the analogy with the glasses works. Um, just like us. Sometimes the devotees they want more in their spiritual life. They want to become famous. They want to be a president, this and that. While there are devotees who are happy not being that. So who is happier? There, there is no happier. Each of them happy according to what they want, according to their svarupa. Svarupa means who you are. So if you are perfectly happy with your svarupa, then everybody is absolutely happy. There is no difference. Is that
So,
is that
Guru
clear?
Maharaj, yes, except I'm sorry to keep going back to the animals in the spiritual world. Are they there also because that is their way of worshiping Krishna?
Yeah.
Or is it, yeah.
Yes, there is no difference between a spiritual body of an animal and the spiritual body of a human. We have spiritual bodies, and the cow is perfectly happy. Doesn't want more. Why doesn't want more? Because it is he's a cow. A cow wants to be a cow. You don't go there. You can go to a cow and say, being a gopa is better than being a cow. She looks at you and says, "What you're talking about? I am very happy because this is who I am." Okay, that's why again, I transfer this concept to us, and maybe a devotee can come to me that they saying it's better to go on the street distributing books, and I say no. I mean, I want to write books. So who is happier? We are both happy at the same way because one serves Krishna in his, how you say, in his, help me, in
Capacity or
in his who he is.
oh,
This devotee is a book distributor, is happy distributing books and not writing them. And I am not happy distributing books, I'm happy writing them. Why? Because we are different. So in the spiritual world, there are forms and personalities of an animal or a tree or even a stone and women, men, and they are happy according to their swarup, and nobody wants more because this is what they are. Who wants to be something that they are not? You know? Do you want to be a dog? You don't want to be a dog. Why? Because you are a man, you know. And if you ask a dog, do you want to be a man? No, I don't want to be a man because I'm a dog. You understand? This is the understanding your personality. In the spiritual world and also in the material world, it works that way. Depending on who you are happy inside of who you are. Dogs is happy eating on the street, and men are happy in their houses and eating, etc. So from the, as I already said, I don't want to repeat myself, but again, if we want to compare it, the type of happiness, then you may also be a little stark and say, the animals they enjoy more than me because I have to pay a rent. I had to, to do the same thing that an animal does, free of charge. They have no job, and they eat. There is no animal, how you say, um, uh,
starving?
starving. There is no animal starving. Here in Vrindavan, you see, there are hundreds, thousands of monkeys, and they go around, they eat just like we eat. But we To eat, we need a job. So all day long, to do something they do free of charge. So you see how, from the material point of view, there is no. While in the spiritual world, there is no difference. Everyone is happy according to the Isvarupa. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I want to go to three devotees lately asked me about marriage. I want to say something. You know, I've been married for entirety of my life. You know, that's why. Yeah, more than 50 years as a grihasta, and so I know something about that. Um, so first of all, um, I want to establish a few principles. The first principle about marriage is that there are some devotees who are not very. I marry because I love this woman or Bible. Now I talk as a man, but women is the same thing with their husband. So because I love her sincerely. So, but my question is, how come in the 8,400,000 form of lives you got um, um, enamored in love with a woman? Why not a dog? Why not a bird? Why not a plant? Why a woman? Because a woman is the form that we like. So it's material. It's not spiritual. You cannot say I love her spiritually. You have a wife because you like the form of a woman and woman of a man. So the uh, the perspective is material. It's not spiritual. Then, if we can spiritualize this union, that's good. You know, having an altar and offering food, etc. But there is something that I want to say about marriages, which is very important. Um, we should not dream about marriage life. If you are married, you need a job. Do you have a money to be married? Do you? Do you have a job? Because once you married, then you have to pay for your wife, then you have to pay for your children, and you need a house, and you pay for the house, and you need a car because everybody has to move around, and then you need this, and then you need that. Do you have a good job? And this is something that when the devotees used to come, now they don't come anymore. But in the past, many devotees came to me asking, should I get married? Can I get married? These kind of things. And although they may expect from me one very philosophical and spiritual, answer, the first thing I say, do you have a job? Do you want to work? From the morning to the evening to maintain a wife and maintain children and maintain a house and maintain a car and maintain. It's not love, and I don't know if in English you have this expression. In my native country, we say two hearts and a hut. And no, you don't have this expression. Just to say,
In a heart or in
yeah,
the hut?
in a hut means you don't need
Oh,
anything. You just need to love it.
oh, okay.
You can live in a hut in a forest and you'll be happy because this kind of love is going to end. Because if you marry somebody because she's beautiful, she's not going to be beautiful for long. And this is the reason why you got married. But you had to continue work from the morning to the evening to maintain someone that maybe you don't like anymore. And after you become bored, always the same voice, always the same person, always the same. So we had to understand we should be very sincere with ourselves and understand that we can do so many things in our life to make it easier. Like for many devotees, being married, it's easier than being a sannyasi or being a brahmachari. There's no doubt about that. I spent many years as a brahmachari, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to put a book in a place and somebody took it and you don't find your things and you get frustrated and this and that. You don't have privacy. So, um, so for some devotee, Grihastha life is better. For some other devotee, Brahmachari life is better. But um, we should be about Grihastha life. You have to be very, very sincere and understand what it means. You want to get married? Welcome. Do you have a job? How much money you make? Because after the wife comes to me, that happened several times in my life, and he said, my husband does not provide. So this is not good. The husband is expected to provide. Just like the wife is supposed to do certain things to make his husband happy and take care of the children, cleaning the house, take care of the duties, these things that the woman has to do because the poor guy has to go to work. So, uh, so this is one perspective of Grihastha life. And I want to. There are so many things to say. I'm not going to say them all now, but in the Mahabharata you read how Grihastha life is important because, for instance, if you are married, if you are not married, it's very difficult to maintain deities because you are alone. And if you want to travel, you cannot travel because you have the deities. It happened to me and my wife many times. We cannot go because what about our deities? You see? And so Grihas is supposed to stay put. He's not supposed to travel much. He has to, every day, he has to go working. And then when he comes back, he offers obeisances to the deities. Everything is cleaned because the wife cleans, etc., etc. The children, and he can play dolls, with the children. And it's a big illusion having children because it's like we go back being children ourselves. We can play with dolls, you know. Oh, you are so nice. You are so nice. Why we embrace him and kiss him or kissing her? Then they grow. And in a few years, they are men and women and they are Krishna. Thank you very much. And you go. And you are alone. But you paid that pleasure, embracing and kissing your children, you pay with your time. You sacrifice your young age just to play with dolls. While in our young age, that we have a very strong intelligence, and I can see with my mind, being now old, when I was 20, there is a gulf of difference. I could remember every word, every place, hundreds of shloka, and now I don't, Sarvadharman Parityaja, the Inos Miyata, that's all. I don't, I don't, I am maybe 10 or 15 shlokas I used to recite almost every day, 500 shlokas, word by word translation, when I was 20. So, how do you want to spend your young age? Well, if you can control your sexual desires, then it's better that you stay brahmachari and you um, uh, engage in studying because knowledge is the base of life. If you cannot control your sexual desire, which does not mean sex only, but the need of having house, having somebody who cooks for you, these kind of things, then it's better you let you get married. You know, that's. But again, get married, get a job, okay? Otherwise, forget about it. All right, so uh that's we can. It's a long subject matter, but since um, many devotees asked me lately, I wanted just to say something that marriage life is not just kisses and embraces, you know, it's, it's something else. All right, so there is any question on this? Otherwise, Lavanga Mataji raised her hand a few minutes ago. If you have questions, Lavanga, if you have questions on this topic, otherwise, after you can ask anything you want.
You covered it very well, so thank you so much. And I appreciate how you were reminding us of the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
This, the ultimate goal is to develop love of Krishna. So we have to choose which ashram is best for helping us do that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I did have a question about the what you were talking about previously about the animals and the humans, but you answered it while you were speaking. But however, I have another separate question unrelated. So whenever you're ready, I can ask that.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering about the process of. I was wondering about Shiksha Gurus because I know now with the internet we have access to so many senior devotees within ISKCON, but it's not always possible to directly contact these senior devotees because maybe they have thousands of disciples. I know people like Radhanath Swami. You can't write him directly because he won't write you back. There's just too much time. And I've been asked the question a lot by other devotees. Can I consider a person my Shiksha Guru if I'm inspired by their teachings and I want to follow their teachings, but I can't, write them or contact them, or maybe they live on the other side of the world and I can't see them. So I was wondering if you could speak a little about that.
Yes. Well, there is a sentimental point of view, emotional. I like this because I like the way he speaks. I don't like what he says because what he says probably is the same thing that so many other gurus and non gurus say. I just like him. I like how he dances. I like his eyes. I never forget. There was one devotee who says, "I will take initiation for it because I like his blue eyes." And I told him, joking, yes, 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 I read in the scripture that the best guru is someone who has blue eyes. Black eyes is not good. So we have to get out of that. A guru basically does two things. One, teaches, tells you this is right and this is wrong. This is a guru. The second thing is that the guru has to accept service. Because you cannot understand philosophy without blessings. And the blessing comes from service. If you do a nice service, the guru blesses you. Or if you follow his instruction, then he's happy because you are doing what he's saying. Who likes to talk uselessly? Nobody listens, nobody does what he says. There is no, of course, if I see one of my disciples doing what I tell him to do, I'm happy. This means blessing. So you cannot understand philosophy without blessing. Because, like we said the last time, I remember about 2 months ago, how do you go? Are you sure to go back to Krishna if you chant 16 rounds every day? All of you said yes. And I said, well, not exactly. You cannot go to Krishna and say, hey, Krishna, you must let me in because I chant 16 rounds. That's not the way it works. Krishna will tell you who is your guru. because you go back to Krishna by the blessings of a pure devotee, not by any mechanical mean. So what about 16 rounds? Well, we chant 16 rounds because Prabhupada told us to chant 16 rounds. So he will bless us because we follow his order. If we would have said 8 rounds, then we would be perfect the same with 8 rounds, because it's not the number of rounds, it's what the guru tell you to do. Then you go back to Krishna and say, Krishna, this is my guru. He is a pure devotee. He blessed me. And Krishna said, yes, he is my dear devotee. I love him so much. Then you can go. Then you can come in. So in the history of our movement that we love so much, of course, because we were young, sometimes we didn't understand, and not more than sometimes, so we didn't understand certain points. And the guru is supposed to teach. What's the point of having a guru you never talk to? What's the point? It's like wanting to learn mathematics, but you don't read any book, or you don't read, well, you can read some books, we have Prabhupada books, we have so many devotees writing very nice books. But you need a teacher. It's impossible to learn something without a teacher. So if a Diksha Guru should be someone who teaches you, but in our movement, we have about less than, I don't know how many initiating spiritual master we have now. But then there is the point, but some of them, because we are not so many, they have many disciples. It's not my case. I don't have that many disciples. I don't travel. Nobody knows me. Who is Manonatha? Here in Vrindavan, nobody knows me. I walk around and few people pay obeisances just because I have an old man face and they figure that I must be a senior devotee. Otherwise, they have no idea who I am. So, but there are many devotees in our movement who are the elite gurus, thousands of disciples. He will never even know who you are once you take initiation from him. He will never know your name, although he gave it to you. So I suggest devotees not to be sentimental. You can always love a devotee because he likes you. There is no harm. If you like the way somebody dances, you can appreciate. But the Shiksha Guru, Shiksha means instruction. You should choose a Shiksha Guru who can give you instruction. Otherwise, what kind of Shiksha Guru is? So, about Diksha, he can, better not, but you could take initiation from somebody who you never talked to, because Diksha is also a Shiksha, Of course, you have to take instruction from the Diksha Guru, etc. But a Diksha Guru can just initiate you, and then he leaves you to the care of our very nice devotees in our movement, etc. But if you want instruction, highly qualified instruction, then you have to accept a Shiksha Guru. And who the Shiksha Guru is? Shiksha Guru is not different from a Diksha Guru. If you want to consider as a Shiksha Guru some devotee who gives a nice Bhagavatam class, is my Shiksha Guru because I liked this Bhag. That is not a Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru you should put his picture on your altar. Shiksha Guru should be the same that your Diksha Guru. You should chant his Pranam mantra. You should call him Guru Maharaj or Guru Deva, this kind of things. That is a Shiksha Guru. Otherwise, if you want to Shiksha from a Shiksha Bhakta, any devotee, respectable, nice devotee, you can, but you don't call him Guru. Guru is a very high definition, very high word. Guru is Guru. We have so many types of Guru. We have Tirtha Guru, we have Shiksha Guru, we have Bharta Pradakshaka Guru, we have Rasa Guru. Yes, so many type of guru. But once you accept somebody as a guru, he's a guru. You have to put him on the altar and do obeisances every day. So, and yeah, well, in the past, it happened many times that devotees they took initiation for somebody they didn't know really. They just had the big name like Swami or Prabhu, and then they won't get any answer. They never talk to him. Never. Never. I know devotees who never talk to his guru. Never. And then they will write to me. So although I, or other senior devotee, although I always ready to speak, now I'm a little older, a little tired. If some devotee write to me, it takes like Bhatta Fabienne, I almost never answer to him, and I'm sorry, but I just don't have time. I don't have the energy anymore, So it's until 1 or 2 years ago, I would answer any questions anyway. So the and they tell me I took initiation for this guru and it doesn't he's giving me instruction. And sometimes I told them, if you take initiation from this devotee, he's perfectly qualified to be a Diksha guru, but you are not going to get instructions from him. You have to get it from the general population. So, or they go, yeah, no, but I want an answer from a very qualified source. Then you should not, either you should not have taken initiation from this devotee, you should look from some other, because sometimes the devotee, well, if I take initiation from this big name, then I will be more respected in society because I'm a disciple of. And who disciple you are? Oh, Manonatha. Who is Manonatha? So socially, you feel a little, how you say, inferior. It may happen. Some devotees told me that he goes around saying, who the guru? Because we have a bunch of gurus, sorry for the word, and a group of gurus, not only me, but other, at least 10 or 15 devotees, nobody knows. I don't know some of them. So we should not be so materialistic to choose a guru because it's a big name. We should choose a guru because if he's equally qualified. Of course, if someone is less qualified than a big name guru, of course you should go to the superior guru. But if there is no difference, or there is a very little difference, then you should choose the guru who can instruct you, who can accept service. This is two things. A guru gives instructions and the guru gives service. That's the two things. So if you accept a Shiksha guru, they should be the same. Then you should take instructions and you should accept service. Because if you don't ask instruction, then what's the point of setting a guru? If you are so advanced or full of knowledge that you don't feel to have philosophical question because you have been studying philosophy for 40 years or 50 years or whatever, then I don't need the Shiksha guru. But then you should do the service for the movement. Then you go to the temple and worship the deity. Then you are okay. But the Shiksha guru is when you come to the point. No, I have knowledge and I have service, but I miss having relationship with a superior devotee. Then you need the Shiksha guru. Otherwise, you know philosophy. I'm not talking to you in general. No? If someone knows philosophy and you have a temple where he goes to do service, that's okay. You don't need. But do you need to talk to somebody from time to time? Then you need a Shiksha guru, but you have to treat him as a guru. Otherwise, you're making offenses.
This clears a lot up for me because I know, like, sometimes people, they'll listen to lectures to devotees, the devotees that they like, but they don't necessarily know them. and they'll say, "Oh, this is my Shiksha Guru." But you're saying that the Shiksha Guru, you should put the picture on the altar, chant the Pranam Mantra. There has to be a relationship, so that clears some things up for me, because sometimes people throw this word around for anybody that they like that gives lectures.
Well,
Thank
it depends very much from how do you define Shiksha Guru. I'm telling you my definition. My definition is a Shiksha Guru. It is not different from Diksha Guru. Just like you worship your Diksha Guru, you have to worship the Shiksha Guru. If you give a lesser meaning to Shiksha Guru, means somebody who teaches, nice class, etc. Well, that's up to you. It's not my understanding of what the Shiksha Guru is supposed to be.
No, thank you so much.
Okay, so do we any other question about this point? So otherwise about marriage, everything is clear. Anyone else want to get married? Okay, so all right. So if there is no other question, I have a list of questions.
Guru Maharaj, I had a question unrelated.
Okay.
Okay, we've kind of touched upon this point a few times, but can you please just elaborate on Sadhu Sangha and association of devotees? That why is it so vital for us? And is it because I guess I have like some kind of understanding that there's some mystical side of association, that when we go to the temple and we see these senior devotees, that there's these mystical things happening in the background that are beneficial for our spiritual life, but that we can't fully understand because it's mystical. So if you could just please elaborate on why association is so important, and how exactly it's really helping us.
Yeah. Just like if somebody wants to please you, he has to please you, the person you love. That's the sadhu. Sadhu is somebody who is a pure devotee of Krishna. Krishna love him. They love Krishna. Krishna love them. So if you stay with somebody Krishna loves, obviously you receive the love also. Because look, he could be enjoying, his life, but no, he goes to stay with my devotees. So he likes my devotee. He doesn't offend them. Very careful, I'm going to take a few minutes talking about um, the offenses to sadhu, and then of course you you get blessing. However, somebody asked me thousands of times in my life, so what is actually a sadhu? Mean any type of devotee, even those devotees who are not really perfect, they say something foolish or they do something foolish each day. Are they sadhu? Of course, there are many different levels of sadhu. There is the Uttamadhikari sadhu, and who is a pure devotee, is already is in the spiritual world with his consciousness. If there is such a sadhu, you should strive to be with him, the obvious. But let's say that you have 2 or 3 children, and and you love your children in the same way, but there are better children than the other. And so if somebody pleases the best children you have, or somebody pleases the worst type of children or child you have, would you be equally pleased? Answer. I challenge you. Answer. Would you be equally pleased if someone pleases your best child or your worst child? If you don't know the answer, means you are not a father. Govinda has two children. I have only one. But I tell you one thing, I don't care if it's better or worse. You love all your children the same way. So Krishna loves his devotees. And of course, he loves more, although it doesn't make difference, but in a deeper sense, yes, it does, it makes difference. But if someone is a devotee, wants to be a devotee, but it just doesn't make it, it just is too much for him. He needs some materialistic. So, but Krishna love him sometimes even more because he needs more love because he's falling down. Let's talk about the devotees who fall down. Krishna love him the same because he tried or he's trying or will try. You see? So, and actually, if you have a son who has difficulty, you love him more because he needs more love from you. So when you go to a temple, obviously you see better devoted than others. And sometimes you hear foolish stuff or you watch foolish things done by devotees. Sometimes the devotees are this and that. I've been receiving complaints since ever from the beginning of my life. Oh, the devotees. I don't understand. You have to respect all devotees. You don't go to the temple because of the man. You go to the temple because there are the deities, because there is a chanting, because there is prasada, because there are devotees, different types of devotees. And you have to accept them all. Of course, if you see something really wrong, you have to appeal to authorities to correct. But again, you should not be played by Maya. Feeling that you have the right to criticize a devotee just because he's obviously not really advanced. That's a play of Maya. You should always respect everybody, no matter who he is, because this is the mad elephant offense. You know what this example, how you say this,
Analogy?
this analogy. If an elephant enters into a store of fine glass, what is the result? He breaks everything down. He destroys everything. So the offense to the devotee doesn't matter who he is. Obviously, if you make offense to a more advanced devotee, that may be more severe. But it's not that it's not severe. You have to respect all devotees. This is our culture, and this is an instruction from the Shastra. So that's a sadhu. Sadhu means somebody who loves Krishna. All sadhus are the same. Again, I already said that more than once. No, they are not the same, obviously. Bhatta Joe is not Prabhupada, obviously. A Bhatta Joe is a Bhatta. To be respected.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, so do we have more? Okay, so I have a question
I
here.
have one question
Yes.
about because you were talking about the different levels of sadhu, or how you have the Uttamadikari and the Manonatha. And this made me remember, I noticed it seems that there's different definitions of Uttamadikari, at least according to my understanding, and it confuses me sometimes because in the Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes in one purport that an Uttamadikari is someone who has taken initiation and is chanting 16 rounds. And in other places, it seems like an Uttamadikari is always with Krishna. They know their eternal Sarup. So could you talk about this a little more?
Yes. There are different definitions. Sometimes the word in our culture are used in a different way to explain philosophical point. For instance, when we talk about Kanishta Adhikari, the word Adhikari means qualified. So Kanishta Adhikari means qualified as Kanishta. Madhyama Adhikari means qualified as qualification as Madhyama qualification. Uttama means Ut means the utmost. That's Uttama means utmost, qualified. So an Uttama Adhikari is somebody who is with Krishna, is qualified to be a total pure devotee. But Uttamadhikari also defines a mood the Uttamadhikari normally manifests. For instance, here in Vrindavan, you see some of those. Of course, I cannot say if someone is a Uttamadhikari or is just a beggar. I don't know that. I will never try to determine who is this or who is not. But you can see that people here normally they don't like to preach. Because preaching is it's a moderation. You associate with people full. You risk your spiritual life by preaching, because you take from them their karma, you take from them their unsecurity. Correct? Someone is not sure about spiritual life. So association with a lesser devotee is very risky. You risk your spiritual life. So there are Uttamadhikari in our history. We have many of those. The very famous Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who didn't preach. It's mistaken to say that he didn't have disciples. Yes, he did. Not many. He had disciples. And he didn't want to be disturbed by materialistic people, because that is not his mood. There was not his. It's not that a pure devotee is only somebody who preaches. That is not. That is called Gochanandi. Bhajananandi is someone who says, "You're closer with this world. This is my last life. I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to think about myself and go back to the spiritual world." We as preachers have the tendency to criticize such a devotee because, okay, you cannot say who cares about the others. You have to be merciful, etc. But this is wrong. There are no. But Yashoda was not a preacher. He never preached to anyone. That doesn't mean that she is lesser than Srila Prabhupada, who preached to the whole planet. He had so many disciples, and so in the spiritual world there are a lot of varieties, and we had to understand that there are varieties. Uttamadhikari does not preach normally. He stays by himself. He goes to Radha Kunda and chant. You talk to him, he doesn't even answer. I tried so many times. Sometimes I spoke with, especially in the past, the previous generation. I'm not saying that the present generation is any less. I cannot say that. But I remember in the past, I used to try to talk to somebody, and he won't even answer me. He was just chanting and chanting and chanting. Because if you want to think to Krishna, the way to think of Krishna by chanting. To chant. So there's a Uttamadhikari, there's a mood, not only qualification of Dhikara, but it's also a type of mood. Sometimes you may not be perfect, but you may have the mood of a Uttamadhikari without being an Uttamadhikari. Okay? So Madhyamadhikari is different. Uttamadhikari does not have contact with the material world. That's the point. And he just doesn't care. He wants to go back to Krishna. That's it. Who knows how many lives he spent preaching? Because this life is not the only life we have. Maybe preach for 10 or 100 lives. So now he decided, okay, that's it. I did what I could. Now let me go back to Krishna. So Madhyamadhikari is a different mood, it's a different qualification. Madhyamadhikari is qualified for preaching. That's a Madhyamadhikari. Madhyama means middle level. Uttama means the superior, Madhyama means a medium, and Kanishta means lower level. So he wants to preach because he's merciful. He wants to preach. He may not be so qualified, as the Uttamadhikari, or maybe he is. He just chooses to do this service to society, and we thank him so much. Like in the case of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who, although Uttamadhikari, obviously, he wanted to save us, and he did. So we have no words, no deeds that we can do to thank him for having come down from his Uttamadhikari level to Madhyamadhikari to preach to us. And he may not manifest the love for Krishna, crying, chanting, all these kind of things, but he is very useful for preaching because since he is not with Krishna completely, then we can talk to him because he sees us, he talks to us. Then that's a Madhyamadhikari. Okay? Again, don't forget, Kadhikari means qualified. It's not that anybody who preaches and doesn't say things correct or this kind of thing, and Madhyamadhikari just because he preaches. Adhikari means that someone is qualified to preach. And then there is the Kanishta Adhikari, somebody who is a little materialistic, my religion is better than yours, my guru is better than yours, he stays in his temple, he doesn't go to any other temple, does not associate much with other devotees because he gets annoyed with others saying things that he doesn't agree on. This is a Kanishta Adhikari. And as far as spiritual guidance, we should not take instructions from, we can, but we should not think that the instructions received are perfect. We should try to find somebody who is at least a Madhyamadhikari. So what about accepting a guru who is a Uttamadhikari? Yes, you can take a guru as Uttamadhikari, even if he doesn't preach to you, but you have to do seva to him, even if only with your mind. Then if you don't do seva and you don't make obeisances and dandavats, etc., then you're not a disciple. And then Uttamadhikari will not come to you telling you chant 16 rounds, telling you 8, 64, all this. But then if you don't take many instruction, you should serve him, ways to worship him, and take instruction whenever you need from Shastra and from other Madhyamadhikari devotees. Guru is a Madhyamadhikari normally, but not always. He can even be a Kanishta, but he should understand he's a Kanishta. So you take instruction, and when you meet the Madhyamadhikari, then you substitute. You may have to substitute this instruction with a Madhyamadhikari guru.
So if one follows the instructions of a Madhyama Adhikari, according to my understanding, if that Madhyama Adhikari is giving instructions that is coming from an Uttamadhikari like Srila Prabhupada, they can go back to Godhead, correct?
I don't know, can you say it again?
So if one is getting instructions from a Madhyama Adhikari, and that Madhyama Adhikari, their instructions are coming from someone who's completely in connection with Krishna, so they can go back to Godhead. It's not necessary that you have to have a guru that knows the eternal Sarup in the spiritual world.
A guru is never alone. It should not be alone. It should be part of a parampara. So if you are initiated by a Madhyamadhikari or a guru who is not perfect, or is not an absolute pure devotee, etc., don't forget that this guru may be. or the guru is guru, maybe. So the blessing and the power doesn't come only from the guru, but from the parampara. And our parampara, I can guarantee you, we had a lot of Uttamadhikaris, of devotees of the utmost grade, of Avatara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, part of our parampara. So, yes, if the guru is not a pure devotee, but he follows the instructions, he follows the parampara, then he can give you what he doesn't have because it comes from above. So you get just like when you plug your electrical cord, you know, the electricity does not necessarily come from your house. It comes from the powerhouse. You see, so you plug it and you receive it. So at the time of initiation, you are connected. Before initiation, you are not connected. That's the difference between an initiated devotee and non-initiated devotee. Non-initiated devotee, yes, he's a devotee, of course, but it's not connected. You must connect through initiation, taken from a bona fide spiritual master. So, if your guru is fallen, depending from what type of fall down he has, he may be perfectly right because you continue to receive the power from the parampara. But of course, if the guru is so fallen that becomes demoniac, it becomes contrary to Krishna, then he has to be rejected. You have to take either initiation, which normally is not advised. Reinitiation is not really good. But definitely you have to take a Shiksha Guru to reconnect to the parampara. So this is a very important principle the devotees sometimes do not understand. Oh, I was initiated in ISKCON, but I wanted to, maybe my guru was not so, and he goes somewhere else. We no guarantee that he's any better. It happens a lot of time. You know? And he goes somewhere else, he discovers it's the same because that's human nature. If you are human, it's just a question of time. Maybe I should not say that it's a question of time, but probably it may happen. Let's say it may happen that you have that you to show some human frailties. Okay, so if the guru is just fallen, you don't need to take your initiation, and you have proper books, etc. If he's demoniac, then you should give him up. And either take a reinitiation again. I already said that. I'm going to repeat it. You know, in our parampara, reinitiation is not advised. It should be only if you discover that at the time of initiation your guru was falling down. That your initiation is not valid at all. It's not you're not initiated. Then you should take initiation, not reinitiation, because you're initiated. If you take initiation from XX, Baba, whatever, you're not initiated. You should take initiation from a Vaishnava line. Then you don't take a reinitiation by being initiated in ISKCON. You're taking initiation. So otherwise, it's always the principle of Shiksha Guru, which in our movement is not really understood, is not applied so much as it should, you know. Then you should accept a Shiksha Guru. And again, since we already spoke about, before accepting a Shiksha Guru sentimentally, then you should make sure what the Shiksha Guru wants. Maybe you don't want to you don't want to do what he says. Maybe you don't want to have another pitch on your altar and chant another pranam mantra, these kind of things. And you should listen a lot, because what's the point to take a Shiksha Guru for somebody who just listened by a class? And all your life, that's all you're going to. This is playing with our philosophy, like children. I take, yeah, it's my Shiksha Guru. Yes. Who is your Shiksha? Oh, my Shiksha Guru is taller than yours. You know, your Shiksha Guru is short and this kind of thing. Oh, my Shiksha Guru is black and yours is white. We should become a little more mature.
Thank you so much for your explanations on these topics. The topic of guru, there's so much that could be said. So.
Yeah, yeah. It can be a book, can be written. Books have been written with this. Srila Prabhupada said a lot about Guru Tattva, and we should understand it better because Guru is our connection with the Parampara, ultimately with Krishna. Probably there is nothing more important. Because if you don't understand the Guru Tattva, then you are connected by initiation, but you are disconnected by de facto. By de facto means that you don't live as your guru would like you to live, but you should. And so, okay. Anything else from anybody? Oh, it's just 1 hour and 20 minutes. Wow, times fly. Yes. All right. So we now stop here and we are going to talk about our service. And Lavanga Mataji, if you want to stay, of course, you are welcome. And but now we are going to stop recording and stop in our connection with Facebook.